What's going on, y'all? Polo Sports Talking Entertainment. Back again with another one. Hit the like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my content as well as all of my videos. Now, before I get this video started, I want to give a shout out to the brother Too Raw for TV or Too Raw for Sports. If you haven't subbed to Too Raw for TV or Too Raw for Sports, definitely go sub to his channel. Historian of the highest degree. Uh, he has multiple channels, like I said, and is one of the generals in the LDBC basketball community as well, and is versatile in terms of his knowledge of every every subject matter that he talks about, whether it's sport, politics, uh, entertainment, whatever. But he's people know him mainly as a historian of the highest degree for basketball. So salute to Too Raw for TV for talking about this subject, and I thought that I would piggyback off of it as well. Now, Scottie Pippen had recently came out and basically voiced his um, opinion on who his top five was in terms of who he would have on the squad, and uh, mainly we're focused on the position for the power forward in which he had chose Giannis over Charles Barkley. Now he chose himself. He chose Charles Barkley at first. He chose Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and Shaq. However, um, he changed. He said, he went back and he said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Giannis. Okay. Now, this is how I feel about it. Okay. I can understand why he did, you know, and, everybody's going to get in the uproar and they're going to be like, why would you choose Giannis over over Sir Charles and all this other stuff? Because, man, Charles Barkley was a bad man. For his time and in his era, Charles Barkley was man. He did some unbelievable things, you know. But I think Scottie Pippen is looking at the fact of what Giannis has already accomplished in terms of in his career right now, what he already has under his belt in comparison to Charles Barkley. Also, another thing that is already separating a guy like Charles Barkley. Yeah, Charles Barkley might have been a better shooter earlier on in his career. I can't really like in terms of athleticism and all this other thing. I think that Giannis checks off everything, and of course durability and defensive wise too. So Scottie Pippen, as you know, is a fan of defense. Sorry about that, y'all. Scottie Pippen is a fan of defense. Of course, that was his calling card. Not to say that he didn't play offense, but he was known as that lockdown defender. What's up with it, Big Who? I see you in the building. But Scottie Pippen, he brought. I wanna bring up something that Scottie Pippen did bring up. Okay, now a while back, Scottie Pippen, uh, he talked about the fact that Giannis will, um, he'll miss his shots. He might airball, he might miss free throws and everything, but he said he admires Giannis for the fact that he keeps on working on his craft, and I think he said that he alluded to that on XM radio. Now, this was the exact quote, okay, and I'm gonna read it to y'all. If you give me just a second, but he basically hold on one second. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Okay, he had basically said that he said himself, like I said, Michael MJ, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Giannis. Um, and then after that, he said swap out Chuck for Giannis after a brief pause, and he said after okay, it said this after sharing his all-time starting lineup, Scottie was asked to give fans a reason to pick up his new book. Scottie said it will help people learn about the greatest team as well as the greatest players of all time. Um, and I think that when it came, like the way that Scottie Pippen looks at the game is quite differently because I know at one point in time there was when he had said, okay, you know what, I'm going to choose LeBron James, and everybody got in an uproar and everything, and then he backtracked, and then that's when he said, okay, you know what, uh, there's nobody better than Michael Jordan, and I think that he sees the game a lot different than a lot of people do. As it pertains to what the casual fan might look at it as. A lot of people, they just look at the game like, oh yeah, you score buckets, you the greatest and stuff like that. And I don't think Scottie Pippen looks at it that way, as as with a lot of other players. And I respect Scottie Pippen. Now I'm surprised that he got Shaq. I'm surprised that he got Shaq. I thought he would have chosen somebody like maybe a Hakeem, or somebody like that, or Kareem, or Wilt, or somebody like that, but it's his opinion. I don't have Charles Barkley as my power forward. You know, a lot of people, they have their selected power forwards. They might have Tim Duncan. They might have Charles Barkley. Some people might have Karl Malone. Some people might have whoever they choose. But mine is Dennis Rodman, and the reason why is because of the way I would like my power forward to be. Especially the front court. And that's just what who I chose, because I felt like Rodman, and this is no knock on Giannis or anything like that, because I think Giannis is unbelievable, man. You know what I'm saying? And I always talk about him, and I vouch for Giannis. And right now, I think he's the best in the world. There's nobody better than Giannis right now. What's up with it, Ted Cox? I see you in the building. But for who I chose at my power forward position, I chose Dennis Rodman. You know, but everybody has their own guy. At the power forward position. But that's not to say that there were other guys that I enjoyed watching. Coming up, because I did happen to like a guy like Charles Barkley. You know, now I like Malone up until I heard whatever it was that I heard about him. And I'm not going to go into that. I think a lot of people know that. But Scottie Pippen, you know, he chose Giannis, you know, over Charles Barkley. Now, could it have been maybe because of the way that he felt, uh, you know, about Charles Barkley, you know, their disagreements and stuff like that? Nah, I don't believe that is solely pertaining to that. But I think a lot of people are going to get in the uproar because they're surprised that he didn't choose somebody that was older. They're surprised that he's choosing a guy that's, you know, so young right now because the rest of those guys, including himself, are much older. You know, but I don't have a problem with it. You know, like some people would have asked, you know, why didn't you choose Tim Duncan? Or, you know, some people might ask, why didn't you choose that guy? But hey, it's his decision. It's his decision. And like I've looked at people's starting fives and I wondered, you know, well, why did you choose this guy, or why did you choose this starting five, or why did you do that? And if you give me a great explanation and come and bring some sort of logic to the table in terms of why you chose each guy, then I could say okay, because I'm not shocked about guys that don't have Michael Jordan in their starting five. You know, that's just something that, you know, you can't really be upset about. We're talking about, you know, Charles Barkley and Giannis here, but I'm just giving a prime example. There are a lot of people that don't have Magic Johnson as they starting point guard. I'm one of them. You know, there are some people that don't have. Um, I'm trying to think of another example. There's some people that don't think that, you know, Shaq was as great as he was. You know, that, you know, everybody looks at something completely different, and that's why, like, I never really not now. If you say something outrageous and you know you just saying it and you going off of your bias, or you just saying it just to get a rise out of people, then I'm like, you know, come on, man, you got to come with the BS. You said Will Chamberlain is the goat, in my opinion, not Jordan. Well, that's your opinion. You know, a lot of people feel that way. I know the brother Too Raw for TV. He definitely feels that way. He definitely feels that way. You know, but you know you're entitled to your opinion, and see, it's it's a great it's an opinion that you have a right to. Now, like sometimes like when a guy puts in, like, you know, guys that they've never seen play before, then I kind of gotta question. Like, okay, I can understand. Like, okay, if like the brother Too Raw for TV, if he says, you know, Will Chamberlain, and he'll say, you know, he watched them and he studied these guys because, you know, I think he was talking about how they they showed games on NBA Classic. They used to do that. And he's right about that. They used to show all of these games all the time. They would play, you know, just sometimes regular season games between, like, you know, back in the days, you know, New York Knicks or something like that, you know, and and they they stopped showing it so much. What's up with it, Big QT, Big Q, too cool. I see you in the building. They stopped showing them. Now, if you sat there and you studied those games and stuff like that, then I can understand that. All right. Now, I got Larry Bird as my small forward, and let me tell you why I got him as my small forward. The reason why I got Larry Bird as my small forward is because I studied games of Larry Bird in his prime. I'm not talking about Larry as he got older and started having back problems and all that other stuff. I'm talking about earlier. I'm just giving a prime example. Okay, and I also watched him. I watched him, coming up. I also watched all these guys. All these guys that I mentioned, I watched, coming up in terms of who I chose. But if you come to me and you say, well, yeah, you know what? I got Bob Cousy, you know, as my starting point guard or something like that. Okay, well, are you just saying that just because you saw something in the record books, or did you actually sit down and watch film on him and say, okay, yeah, he did this great and he did that great? That's what that's how I look at it. And a lot of guys they don't do that, or they'll say, yeah, man, I like Dr. J. Okay, were you just looking at highlights and all this other stuff that you see, or did you actually watch him play to say, okay, yeah, I like the way that he did this. I like the way that he runs the pick and roll. I like the way that he sets up the offense. I like the way that he's able to, dictate the tempo. I like the way that this guy, boxes out. I like the way that this guy, backdoor bullies backyard bullies, in the paint or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I like the way that this guy is tenacious on defense. I like the way that this guy shoots. Like for instance, my guy that thinks that Ray Allen is the best shooter of all time. What's up with it, Think Tank? I see you in the building. You said I'm surprised Scottie Pippen talking about someone other than Jordan. Well, I mean that's what he's doing right now, Tank. He's talking about Giannis, and I'm kind of glad that he's not talking about Jordan. I mean, listen, everybody knows that he was just trying to sell a book, man. I mean, and really, you were bringing attention to yourself, anyways, man, with all the stuff that was going on. With Larza and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it, listen, that's something that I'm not going to get into. But you know, he chose Giannis. And that's who he chose. I know Scottie Pippen in the back of his mind, he has a lot of resentment, towards a guy like MJ and stuff, which is sad. But unfortunately, that's just the way that he feels, you know. Um, and it's kind of like when some guys don't, they'll sit there and they'll say, well, I don't have Michael Jordan on this list, or I don't have Michael Jordan on that list, or something like that. Sort of like, Isaiah Thomas. He thinks that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest of all time because he won at every single level. But it's listen, these these type of conversations, they always get people riled up, and they always get people they always get people in their feelings, man. And I like having them. I like having these type of conversations because I like to hear how other people think, in terms of how they look at the game. Some guys might have all shooters on their team with no defense. Some guys might go to Don Nelson route and have this crazy ass lineup where it's like positionless to what we see right now. What's catered to right now. Some guys. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
said everyone's top five is always really determined by who they actually see play. Yeah, but think tank. Some people see the thing about it, think tank man, is some people will say some astronomical person that they know good and damn well they never saw him play. They just saying it because they see. Like if you tell me, okay, yeah, I like Oscar Robinson. Well, I'm gonna ask you why you like Oscar Robinson. Was it what? Give me some specific things because if I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, yeah, man, I think Kareem is the greatest big man of all time, and then you ask me, well, why you like Kareem? Because he's an all-time leading scorer. That's not a good answer, man. You said the GOAT debate is an ultimate barbershop conversation. Fights break it. Yeah, I know, man. I know, I know, I know. Because it'll turn into like, yeah, man, such and such is better than such and such. They be like, nah, he ain't, and then it'll get hype, and then he be like, yeah, well, man, you ain't shit. And that guy say, well, you ain't shit. And you be like, man, well, you can't whoop me, and then it turns into that shit. But that's facts, though, Ted. You said like I know Kareem was that dude on film and highlights, but I never seen him in real time. But I got Hakeem as the greatest center, using that as an example. Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why. Okay, the reason why I have Hakeem as my starting center because first and foremost, like what people got to think, I think Big Tank knows this, but I don't think Chad, you might not know this, but Think Tank knows this about me. I don't have a oh yeah, who's the top five or anything like that. No, I build an actual constructed roster. If you've been following my channel for a while, that's how I build my team. I build 15 players on my squad, and I have a backup. But I have a starting five, and that's because if you talk to like guys that really played the game and really hoop, then you'll know you got to build it like that. I'm gonna have a backup shooting. I'm gonna have a backup point. I'm gonna have a backup center. I'm gonna have a backup power forward. I'm gonna have a backup small forward. And I'm gonna have my starting five, and then I'm gonna have some reserves, and I even got coaches too as well. When Kareem was tired, I was 1 year old, but I know he was a dog. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But see, I'll go back and see. I used to look at like VHSs back in the day when we had tapes and stuff like that, and I would look at actual game footage and stuff like that because you have to think, man, when you come around, you have a lot of family, you know that family members that play basketball, sports, stuff like that. You're gonna find certain things, and I was just interested in a lot of guys. Like, okay, this is gonna be tripped out. While I have Isaiah Thomas as my starting point guard, and then I got Magic as the backup point guard or whatever. But my my favorite my top two favorite point guards to watch and was enjoyable to watch was Baron Davis, B Diddy, and and Terry Porter. And people be like, well, why is that? No, 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 no. Terry Porter did so many things, man. He did so many things that a lot of people don't understand, especially when he played for the Portland Trailblazers. And then, of course, Baron Davis, I actually had an opportunity to watch him play, and man, this guy, he's unreal, especially for his size at that time, for his size. Some of the stuff that he was pulling off, and he was a good floor general. It's just sad that injuries robbed him of his career. But man, I don't judge anybody that has their their particular person as a shooting guard or as a small forward or as a center or whatever. I feel like you're entitled to your own opinion. Now, some people get mad when you don't have LeBron James in there or something like that. And what I have to let people know is that not everybody not everybody is going to choose LeBron James. Not everybody's going to choose him. Not everybody's going to choose um, a particular player. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand that. And I think that Scottie Pippen choosing a guy like Giannis, I mean, that says a lot. There's some people, and I'm gonna be real with you, and they had the audacity to say this. There are some people that actually feel that Giannis does not belong in the NBA 75. Now, I don't feel that way, but I'm like, if you're gonna say that, man, you better get rid of a guy like AD. You better get rid of a guy like um, James Harden. You better get rid of Dame because Giannis has pretty much accomplished what a lot of these other guys have. You know what I'm saying? He has an argument there. And listen, you're entitled to your opinion, but there is an argument there in terms of him being in the NBA 75. Now, some people might argue, well, James Harden, man, he got a regular season MVP and and all this other stuff. He's real talented. But his body of work ain't that great from an individual standpoint. It might be, but not in terms of his success rate when it comes to team. You know, Dame as well. They're very talented. You said a lot of folks don't have LBJ in their starting five as small forward because of his shooting. Most people have Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins, or KD. Now I got Larry Bird, and I like Dominique Wilkins too. I think he was flamboyant, and he was a good scorer too. And I think what also gets slept on about Dominique Wilkins too is the fact that he came back from injury during that time that a lot of people weren't able to come back from and be able to play and continue on playing. As far as KD, I definitely can't put him up that high. Some people might base it upon skill and all this other stuff, but you have to look at the fact that okay, did you put a team on your back and take them to the promise, so to speak? Yeah, it involved the team. Larry Bird didn't have Parrish and Cal and DJ and the collective other guys and stuff like that, but that was pretty much done organically. That wasn't nothing like, okay, yeah, I need to join forces or anything like that. And you see, you got Omaha in here, salute Omaha. He already ready to come in here savage with the smoke. And see, that's why these conversations right here, they get people in an uproar. But hey, like I said, Omaha, man, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You see, and that's what we were just talking about. Omaha. Hey, Omaha, one of the niggas at the barbershop, like, no, 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 man, I can't believe you ain't got LeBron up there. You said, I thought KD would surpass Bird this year. But I would take Bird because of his mental toughness. Exactly, and his pride. But I also took. You see, man, everybody probably looked at Bird as if this guy, you know, like they looked at the older Bird and they were just like, you know what, man, this guy was, with the back problem and stuff like that. That's the Bird that they probably looked at and stuff. They didn't look at the young Larry Bird. Not that he was all super, super athletic or nothing like that, but he could do so many things. He was so versatile. He could shoot. He was clutch. He was a killer. But more importantly, man, he was a team. He was a good team defender. He wasn't a good on ball defender, but he had court vision out of this world. Everybody talks about magic court vision. Larry Bird could pass the shit out of the ball too, and have your ass like what? You know? And I don't. While everybody talks about LeBron James being a point forward, and then we're taking even further back like Grant Hill, and even before that, Scottie Pippen. You got to talk about a guy like Larry Bird because he was a point forward too. Larry Bird used to handle the rock too. You said top small forwards, one Elgin Baylor, Dr. J. LeBron, Scottie Pippen. Hey, that's your opinion, man. That is your opinion. That is your opinion. You're entitled to it, man. I don't get mad at I don't get mad at anybody. Now, I will say this though. Now, the late great Elgin Baylor, him and Dr. J, Dr. J, and Connie Hawkins, they don't they don't get enough credit for revolutionizing the game. Uh, him, Connie Hawkins, Elgin Baylor, Connie Hawkins, Dr. J, and David Thompson, they don't get enough credit for revolutionizing the game in terms of pipeline, basketball being played in the air and moves in the air and stuff like that. Those were the guys that revolutionized that. And then also you have to understand that who did Michael Jordan have at his Hall of Fame speech? He had David Thompson. Old head at the bell shot. I was in high school when Kareem came into the league. He the GOAT. Yeah. Man, they be ready to step out and fight you if you don't have somebody in the top five or top 10 or something like that. Hold on 1 minute, y'all.